Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Haschatya Deshatarine. Ram Sham Prabhu, can you read this, the translation there of this, if we can get it back on the...
Sure. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
I don't know, maybe our Mother Shobharadi stepped away, I don't know.
I'm pulling for you.
Oh, are you in charge? Okay, I didn't know. There we go.
I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatt Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopal Bhatt Goswami, who are very expert in scrutinizingly studying all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal religious principles for the benefit of all human beings. Thus, they are engaged, thus, they are honored all over the three worlds, and they are worth taking shelter of because they are observed in the mood of the gopis and are engaged in the transcendental loving service of Radha and Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. You know why, I mean, there's 8 prayers here. So why did I pick number 2?
Sanatan Goswami?
What about Sanatan Goswami?
Today, Thiru.
But he is Rupa Goswami.
It's the appearance of Srila Jiva Goswami, yeah. But I mean, there's 8 prayers, and all of them are to the 6 Goswamis. So why number 2?
Yeah, so this verse number 2 is specific about they are, like reading and writing the scriptures. They are expertly and scrutinizingly, they have studied the Vedas and they have write accordingly as per the Caitanya Mahaprabhu instruction.
Yes, that's true. But then they did other things also, which are glorified in these different. Why do you think this second one was picked though?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I think
yes,
because they are absorbed in the mood of the gopis.
Yes, that's also true. Yeah, they're also true. But there's a reason I picked the number 2 one.
Because they are being honored, and today we are going to honor him.
Yes, Acharya Prabhu has his hand raised. I bet he knows. Come on.
I actually don't know, but I might guess that it's because Prabhupada chose that verse as the introductory verse to Nectar of Devotion.
Yes. So this is one of the 8 verses that Srila Prabhupada singled out in his introduction to the Nectar Devotion, or the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu summary.
That was actually the very first shloka I ever learned before I even became a devotee, because I was so fond of Nectar of Devotion. I learned that verse before I even moved into the temple.
Oh, you have a special fondness for Nectar Devotion. I didn't know. That's good to know. Yeah. So the other prayers are also very wonderful. And when Srila Prabhupada has recorded the Sad Goswami Astakam, he would chant all of the prayers, of course. Krishna Kirtana Gana. There's a couple of tunes that he used. The one we sang and then a different tune. But he specially singled this one out in his introduction or preface to the Nectar Devotion. Okay. Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
We are reading and studying the Sri Caitanya Caritamrita, Adi Lila chapter 10. And we're, you know something, this is quite very interesting. On Jiva Goswami's appearance day, we just happened to be at the verse describing Srila Jiva Goswami as one of the sub-branches of the Lord Chaitanya tree from Rupa Sanatana. What is the chance that that's happening? I don't know, but it's an auspicious sign, I think. Okay. And Mother Chattopadhyay, are you
Hare
going to
Krishna,
chant this?
Prabhu. Yes, Hare
Yes.
Krishna. তার মধ্যে রূপ সনাতন বড় শাখা, অনুপম জীব রাজেন্দ্রাদি উপশাখা।
Among these branches, Rupa and Sanatan were principal. Anupam, Jiva Goswami, and others, headed by Rajendra, were their sub-branches. Rupa and Sanatan were Bodha Shaka, big Bodha Shaka. Anupam, Jiva Goswami, and others, headed by Rajendra, were sub-branches. Okay. In the Gauda Gunadesh Deepika, it is said that Srila Jiva Goswami was formerly the Vilas Manjari Gopi. From his very childhood, Jiva Goswami was greatly fond of Srimad Bhagavatam. He later came to Navadvip to study Sanskrit, and following in the footsteps of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, he circumambulated the entire Navadvip Dham. After visiting Navadvip Dham, he went to Benares to study Sanskrit under Madhusudan Vachaspati. And after finishing his studies in Benares, he went to Vrindavan and took shelter of his uncles Sri Rup and Sanatan. This is described in, This is described in the Bhakti Ratnakara. As far as our information goes, Srila Jiva Goswami composed and edited at least 25 books. They are all very much celebrated, and they are listed as follows. 1. Harinam Amrita Vyakarana. 2. Sutra Malika. 3. Dhatu Sangraha. 4. Krishnarcha Deepika. 5. Gopal Virudavali. 6. Rasamrita Shesh. 7. Sri Madhava Mahotsava. 8. Sri Sankalpa Kalpa Briksha. 9. Bhavarta Suchaka Champu. 10. Gopal Tapani Tika. 11. A commentary on the Brahma Samhita. 12. A commentary on the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. 13. A commentary on the Ujjvala Nilamani. 14. A commentary on the Yoga Shar Stava. 15. A commentary on the Gayatri Mantra as described in the Agni Purana. 16. A description of the Lord's lotus feet derived from the Padma Purana. 17. A description of the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. 18. Gopal Champu in 2 parts. And 19 to 25, 7 sandarbhas, the Krama, Tattva, Bhagavat, Paramatma, Krishna, Bhakti, and Priti Sandarbha. After the disappearance of Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami in Vrindavan, Srila Jiva Goswami became the Acharya of all the Vaishnavas in Bengal, Orissa, and the rest of the world. And it is he who used to guide them in their devotional service. In Vrindavan, he established the Radha Damodar temple, where after retirement, we had the opportunity to live from 1962 until 1965, when we decided to come to the United States of America. When Jiva Goswami was still present, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami compiled his famous Caitanya Charitamrita. Later, Srila Jiva Goswami inspired Srinivas Acharya, Narottam Das Thakur, and Dukhi Krishna Das to preach Krishna consciousness in Bengal. Jiva Goswami was informed that all the manuscripts that had been collected from Vrindavan and sent to Bengal for preaching purposes were plundered near Vishnupur in Bengal. But later he received the information that the books had been recovered. Srila Jiva Goswami awarded the designation Kaviraj to Ramchandra Sen, a disciple of Srinivas Acharya, and to Ramchandra's younger brother, Govinda. While Jiva Goswami was alive, Srimati Janava Devi, the pleasure potency of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, went to Vrindavan with a few devotees. Jiva Goswami was very kind to the Gaudiya Vaishnavas and the Vaishnavas from Bengal. Whoever went to Vrindavan, he provided with a residence and prasadam. His disciple, Krishnadas Adhikari, listed all the books of the Goswamis in his diary. The Sahajiyas level 3 accusations against Srila Jiva Goswami. This is certainly not congenial for the execution of devotional service. The first accusation concerns a materialist who is very proud of his reputation as a great Sanskrit scholar and approached Sri Rup and Sanatan to argue with them about the revealed scriptures. Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, not wanting to waste their time, gave him a written statement that he had defeated them in a debate on the revealed scriptures. Taking this paper, the scholar approached Jiva Goswami for a similar certificate of defeat. But Jiva Goswami did not agree to give him one. On the contrary, he argued with him regarding the scriptures and defeated him. Certainly, it was right for Jiva Goswami to stop such a dishonest scholar from advertising that he had defeated Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. But due to their illiteracy, the Sahajiya class refer to this incident to accuse Srila Jiva Goswami of deviating from the principle of humility. They do not know, however, that humility and meekness are appropriate when one's own honor is insulted, but not when Lord Vishnu or the Acharyas are blasphemed. In such cases, one should not be humble and meek, but must act. One should follow the example given by Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya says in his Shikshastaka 3, Trinadapi sunichena taror iva sahishnuna amanina madadena kirtaniya shada hori. One can chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking himself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. Nevertheless, when the Lord was informed that Nityananda Prabhu was injured by Jagai and Madhai, he immediately went to the spot, angry like fire, wanting to kill them. Thus, Lord Chaitanya has explained his verse by the example of his own behavior. one should tolerate insults against oneself, but when there is blasphemy committed against superiors such as other Vaishnavas, one should be neither humble nor meek. One must take proper steps to counteract such blasphemy. This is the duty of a servant of a guru and Vaishnavas. Anyone who understands the principle of eternal servitude to the guru and Vaishnavas will appreciate the action of Sri Jiva Goswami in connection with the so-called scholar's victory over his gurus, Srila Rupa and Srila Sanatana Goswami. Another story fabricated to defame Srila Jiva Goswami states that when Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami showed him the newly completed manuscript of Sri Caitanya Caritamrita, Jiva Goswami thought it would hamper his reputation as a big scholar and therefore threw it in a well. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was greatly shocked. According to this story, he died immediately. Fortunately, a copy of the manuscript of Sri Caitanya Caritamrita had been kept by a person named Mukunda, and therefore later it was possible to publish the book. This story is another ignominious example of blasphemy against a guru and Vaishnava. Such a story should never be accepted as authoritative. According to another accusation, Srila Jiva Goswami did not approve of the principles of Parakiya Ras, of Rajadham, and therefore supported Svakiya Ras, showing that Radha and Krishna are eternally married. Actually, when Jiva Goswami was alive, some of his followers disliked the Parakiya Ras of the gopis. Therefore, Srila Jiva Goswami, for their spiritual benefit, supported Svakiya Ras, for he could understand that Sahajiyas would otherwise exploit the Parakiya Ras, as they are actually doing at the present time. Unfortunately, in Vrindavan and Navadvip, it has become fashionable among Sahajiyas in their debauchery to find an unmarried sexual partner to live with to execute so-called devotional service in Parakiya Ras. Foreseeing this, Srila Jiva Goswami supported Svakiya Ras, and later all the Vaishnavacharyas also approved of it. Srila Jiva Goswami was never opposed to the transcendental Parakiya Ras, nor has any other Vaishnava disapproved of it. Srila Jiva Goswami strictly followed his predecessor gurus and Vaishnavas, Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, and Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami accepted him as one of his instructor gurus. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaikam Dadati Shapandantikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Before speaking, I'd like to ask blessings and permission from the senior Vaishnavas present who are senior by age or by advancement or by involvement in the Krishna consciousness movement. Thank you. Let's go to the top of this purport. So Srila Jiva Goswami, whose appearance day we're observing today, one of the 6 Goswamis, he was the son of the brother of Rupa and Sanatan, whose name was Anupam. there's a little bit of controversy about his exact date of birth. Usually in Western or material history, it's really important to get people's dates of birth and death, usually from different sources. But with the transcendental appearance and disappearance, we may not know exactly, but even more important than their date of birth and their date of passing is their transcendental activities. So that's more of a focus. Nevertheless, usually the date of birth of Srila Jiva Goswami is identified as 1513 of the Christian era. The little concern about that is that when in the Bhakti Ratnakara, that when Lord Caitanya went to Bengal, he met Rupa Goswami and Vallabha, Anupama, and at that time, can you hear me? My screen just went blank.
Yeah, Prabhuji, we can hear you.
We can hear you and see you, Prabhu.
Okay, something much funny went on. I don't know. Okay, so supposedly that was in 1513, and the child Jiva Goswami was present at the time and was able to hear and benefit from the exchanges between Rupa and Anupama and Lord Chaitanya at that time. So it's usually accepted that it's around 1513 that Jiva Goswami appeared, perhaps not exactly 1513. I'm going to have to reboot because something happened with my screen and I can't see anything. I'll be right back. Sorry about this.
While he's rebooting, Acharya Prabhu, do you know why sometimes it's said that there are 7 Sandarbhas and sometimes it's known as 6? Or Kaivalya Prabhu?
I don't know anything about that, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. Could we go down a little bit more on this? Hare Krishna, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Up. Further. Okay. More. Yeah. So then Jiva Goswami's father, who was, what was his father's name?
Anupam?
Anupam, and before
Yeah,
that he was Vallabha.
Previously was Sri Vallabha. Then about a year later, after he met Lord Chaitanya, he accompanied Rupa Goswami, his brother, to Vrindavan. And on the way back to Puri, he passed away on the bank of the Ganges. So Jiva Goswami's father had passed away, and he was very interested, even from his early life, like it's explained here, that he was very attracted to Srimad Bhagavatam, and he wanted to follow in the footsteps of his uncles, Rupa and Sanatan. But of course, his mother was there, so she wanted to keep him with her. So in his teen years, up till that time, he was studying Sanskrit and the scriptures and became very expert in all those things. But then as a teenager, late teens, he was able to take a trip to Navadvip, the Mayapur, the Navadvip of Lord Chaitanya's birth and activity area. And who did he meet there in Navadvip?
The Sanskrit scholar?
No,
Chaitanya.
no. Who did he meet at Navadvip? See, it says following, he followed the footsteps of Sri Nityananda Prabhu because he met Nityananda Prabhu there in Navadvip. And the book by Bhaktivinoda Thakur called Navadvip Dham Mahatmya is a description of Lord Nityananda touring and showing Jiva Goswami all the sacred places of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes and other great events that took place in the Navadvip Mandal there. So that book specifically is about that Jiva Goswami's first trip to Navadvip. So then after circumambulating the entire Navadvip area, so that circumambulation of Navadvip was begun by Jiva Goswami and Srila Nityananda Prabhu, and it continues now to this day. So when devotees go for pilgrimage to Mayapur, one of the important activities is to follow in the footsteps of Nityananda Prabhu and Jiva Goswami, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and Srila Prabhupada, and do the circumambulation of Navadvip. So then, after doing that, it was Nityananda Prabhu who suggested and ordered him, you go to Benares to study Sanskrit, and under Madhusudan Vachaspati, who is related to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So he studied in Benares for quite some time. But by the age of 20, then he went to Vrindavan to join his uncles Rupa and Sanatana Goswami. So while he was in Benares, he also studied Vedanta Sutra commentaries by all the Vaishnavacharyas and Shankaracharya as well. So he became very expert in understanding all the different philosophies from the different points of view of both the Vaishnavas and the impersonalists. So Srila Prabhupada comments that of all the philosophers that are existing or have existed, the Vaishnava philosophers are the topmost. And topmost among the Vaishnava philosophers is, any guesses?
Rupa Goswami?
Who said that?
Dr. Sean? Rupa Goswami?
Close, but not quite.
Sridhara Swami.
Who's that? Did you say
Sridhara
Ramachandra?
Swami. Sridhar Swami, but he was early. Sridhar Swami.
Sridhar Swami. No, well, yeah, no, but no.
Jiva Goswami.
That's right. Jiva Goswami. Jiva Goswami, Srila Prabhupada said, is the topmost philosopher among the Vaishnavas. And so much so that in they have the Hindu University in Benares. It's a very famous university where they have all kinds of departments. There's a whole department just to study the works of Srila Jiva Goswami. He's so respected and appreciated, even from a may not be necessarily a Vaishnava point of view always, but he's appreciated quite impressively, even by the Benares Hindu University. So there's a description here next of the books written or compiled or edited by Srila Jiva Goswami. The first one is Harinam Amrita Vyakaran. You know what Vyakaran means?
Grammar.
Grammar, yeah. So what is this book, Harinam Amrita Vyakaran? Anybody know?
Would it be the meanings of all of Hari's names?
Good guess. But no, it includes that. Yeah,
Harinam Amrita. Yeah.
yeah,
It explains the grammatic laws, but all in terms of Krishna's different names.
yes, yes, yes. So it's a Vyakara grammar. If you want to learn Sanskrit, you can learn Sanskrit from Harinam Amrita, from this book, all in relation to the various names of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in that sense, you can learn grammar and become Krishna conscious at the same time. Usually, when you learn grammar, it's a tedious thing and has nothing to do with Krishna consciousness, oftentimes, isn't it? You remember learning grammar in grade school, perhaps,
Mhm.
you know. So following in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he compiled this grammar because Lord Chaitanya also taught grammar in Sanskrit in his school in Mayapur, Binat, and Navadvip. So following in those footsteps, he has written this Harinam Amrita Vyakaran. So you can learn Sanskrit and be Krishna conscious at the same time, become Krishna conscious at the same time. So there's a number of other books here. You read, we'll go down. Ujjvala Nilamani and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu those are by Rupa Goswami. Then there's the 6 Sandarbhas. You see those 6 Sandarbhas? Krama Tattva, Bhagavat, Paramatma, Krishna Bhakti, and Priti Sandarbha. Those are considered his, really magnus opus, they call the special contribution. And they are, the first 4 are dealing with the sambandha aspect of realization of the absolute truth, that we are eternal servants of Krishna, and establishing that from the point of view of the Shastras. Then the Bhakti Sandarbha is about practicing devotional service, supported by the scriptures, and the Priti Sandarbha is that's called, Sambandha Abhideya. Bhakti is Abhideya, practice of devotional service, and Priti Sandarbha is Prayojana, the goal of devotional service, which is love of God. So these 6 treatises, Sat Sandarbhas, he is very important, famous for doing these, for writing these, compiling these literatures. So then he was the Acharya of all the Vaishnavas in Bengal and the rest of the world, Prabhupada says. So part of his interest after the disappearance of Rupa and Sanatana Goswami was to take all the Goswami books and disseminate them, especially to the Vaishnavas in Bengal, and some say also Orissa. So, as you might know, they gathered them all together, and they put him in. He put him in a large bullock cart to take to Bengal, and he had 3 of his Shiksha disciples, Narottam Das Thakur, Srinivas Acharya, and here it says Dukhi Krishnadas. Dukhi Krishnadas has another name you might know.
Nanda.
What's that?
Shyamananda.
Yes, that's Shyamananda Prabhu. So he got specially named that later. But so, and he requested them and empowered them. You take these books compiled by him and his other Goswamis to Bengal and disseminate this information for the benefit of the world. So those 3 persons took the cart and were traveling eastward from Vrindavan toward Bengal. And when they entered Bengal, near a place near Vishnupur. There's many Vishnupurs in India. You can search for it, but there's a Vishnupur, and it's in western part of Bengal, where this happened. So there was a king there named Virhamvira, who happened to be a king of thieves. He used to plunder people traveling through Bengal on their way to pilgrimage places like Puri, and that way they got rich. So he had his army of thieves. So he heard from an astrologer that there was a very wealthy person arriving carrying a cart full of jewels, very valuable jewels. And so the king thought, wow, here's a great opportunity for me to enrich myself. So he called his army of thieves together and he said, yeah, come on, we have to be on the lookout for this person. He's coming close by through Vishnupur. So they went. He said, but don't kill anybody. Just wait for an opportune time and grab that treasure and bring it back to me. So they went there looking, and they found the Narottam Das Thakur, Dukhi Krishna Das, and Srinivasa Acharya with the cart, and they followed from a distance, and they waited until it was nighttime after they had done their chanting a kirtan, then they went to sleep, and in the middle of the night, the dacoits stole the cart with the books, and they brought it to the king, Virhamvira. So the king was very anxious to see what they had got, so what they had brought. So he immediately went to the where the cart was located, and he started to open to see what was there. And he was surprised that there wasn't jewels, but there were books. And what did you think his reaction was when he saw that there were books instead of jewels?
Disappointed?
You'd think that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You'd think that. But he wasn't, according to the Bhakti Ratnakara, he wasn't disappointed. How's that? Just by the influence of seeing the books. Just by the influence of seeing the books, his heart was changed. This is very instructive because, Srila Prabhupada used to say things like, just put it in the person's hand when you go on Sankirtan. Just put it in their hand, just if they can have some association with these books. So here we have, in this case, Virhamvir, a dacoit king. His heart was changed just by seeing the books. And later he could understand that this situation was he's probably made an offense to this very rich person. So he had a dream that the rich person would come and see him. Finally, Srinivasa Acharya came, and seeing Srinivasa Acharya and being purified by seeing the books of the Goswamis, including Srimad Bhagavatam, all these things that we've seen there, he fell down and accepted Srinivasa Acharya as his guru. Just like pretty amazing change from a dacoit to a devotee. So if you look, there's not much information about Virhamvir, but you'll find that in the history of Western Bengal, he's recognized as being someone who's appreciated because he constructed many temples for Lord Vishnu there in that time, as a follower of the six Goswamis and Srinivasa Acharya, who had been deputed by Srila Jiva Goswami. Then there's this another point a little bit below here. Yeah, these accusations by the Sahajiyas. There's the information about this Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami not arguing with this materialist. The name of the materialist is not always the same in different sources. Sometimes it's said that that person is Rupa Narayan, in other places it said it's Vallabhabhata. It could be two times it happened. But anyway, Rupa and Sanatan were approached, and they weren't interested in showing off. So they just gave him this letter saying, yeah, you defeated me. Okay, you're great. I'm not. But when he also heard that there was another, the nephew was a very great debater and philosopher. So he didn't want to leave Vrindavan without getting his signature too on saying they had been defeated. Of course, this person didn't even consider that he hadn't really defeated them. He had just gotten their signature. But Jiva Goswami did not accept that path, that his Rupa and Sanatan. And incidentally, when Jiva Goswami first went to Vrindavan, he requested to be initiated by Sanatan Goswami, Diksha. But Sanatan Goswami said, no, you take initiation from Rupa Goswami. So Rupa Goswami was his Diksha guru of Jiva Goswami. So anyway, so Jiva Goswami didn't follow the example of his own Diksha guru and his predecessors. And Rupa Goswami was, when he found out about it, he was a little bit unhappy. And he told Jiva Goswami that he should have to do some penance for that, which he accepted. He left Vrindavan and went to Mathura. Later, Sanatan Goswami approached Rupa Goswami and says, you know something? You're not following the orders of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You follow the orders of the teachings of Mahaprabhu. And Rupa Goswami says, what? What is that? How is that? And Sanatana Goswami says, well, one of the main teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Jiva Daya. Jiva Daya. What does that mean?
Mercy, Jiva's mercy.
You got to be merciful to the Jivas. And here's Jiva that you've banished. So then Rupa Goswami understood, oh yes. So he brought him back. He brought him back from Mathura. But this principle, as enunciated here by Srila Prabhupada, that for devotees, meekness and humility specifically refers to oneself. But when the acharyas or the Vaishnavas are blasphemed or attacked, then one can be like a lion. You have any examples of that? Other examples? Srila Prabhupada gives the example of Lord Chaitanya when Lord Nityananda was attacked. Any other examples you know? I don't see any. No? Can you think of any?
Nityananda Prabhu giving mercy to Jagai Madhai.
Yeah, that's the one that Srila Prabhupada is quoting here. Maybe you have done that somewhat in your own lives, perhaps. I don't know.
Yeah,
If you see. Go ahead.
in the Ramayana, Hanumanji and also Sugriva, when he saw Ravan, so without getting permission also he attacked Ravan, even though he got defeated from Ravan. So at the very first time. So that's there.
Yes. So we see this is a principle that's important to be aware of, and not that humility and meekness, specifically in relation to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and in one's own experience. When other devotees might be taken advantage of or being blasphemed or insulted, then one can act very strongly for defeating that person. Let's look down a little further. Oh, then there's this another story fabricated when Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami supposedly showed Jiva Goswami this his manuscript of the Caitanya Caritamrita. Jiva Goswami threw it down a well, and then Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami then died. Yeah, this is a good example of what we call projection. Have you projection? You put on somebody else, whether it's your own desires or your own motives. So these people most likely would have liked to throw Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami's manuscript down the well because they couldn't deal with it. So they tried to put it off on Jiva Goswami. That's nonsense. Nonsense. So you see, people who have evil motives or material motives, they always try to defame the person who is spotless in character. Even, Srila Jiva Goswami, Lord Chaitanya, Krishna, Srila Prabhupada. This is common, the common people. Srila Prabhupada would sometimes say that when authorities or people would try to defame the Hare Krishna movement, he said that shows that we're bona fide, we're genuine. Just like when Chand Kazi tried to stop the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya. So similarly, that influence is going to come in this material world, just like here, Jiva Goswami, such an elevated philosopher, but still these things are made up to try to bring him down or to defame him. And then this last one is about the Svakiya and Parikiya ras. Svakiya ras means what?
Relation within married life.
Yes, and Radha. So the Radha and Krishna are eternally married. You'll find that there's some celebration for Radha and Krishna's marriage. But more important than understanding this, than this idea that Jiva Goswami had supported Svakiya ras or Parikiya ras, is to understand that, step back, he was supporting both of them, but because of the nature of Parikiya ras, Parikiya means unmarried. Radha and Krishna are unmarried, or the gopis are unmarried to Krishna, but they're still having loving relationships with him. The tendency for that to become an example for us within this material world is dangerous. In the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes the material world as a banyan tree. You know this? But it's a particular kind of banyan tree. What's that? What banyan tree is that? What's different about that banyan tree?
It's a reflection.
Yeah, so when it's a reflection, what happens?
It's upside down.
Yeah, it's upside down. So Srila Prabhupada would give the example that the lowest thing in this world is the highest there.
Mm.
The highest. So in this, the Parikiya ras in this material world of, running around affairs behind people's backs, that's the lowest thing. But in the spiritual world, it's has transcendentally wonderful. Krishna is the father of every living entity. He's also the source of all energies. Parasya Shakti Vivadaya Vishruyate. He has hundreds and thousands of Lakshmis who are attending him, or gopis attending him with great reverence. But so he has no need to be sneaky. But there's a special taste for that Parikiya ras in the spiritual world, which in the material world we may not appreciate or understand that because we're so much absorbed in the material conception of life. So that Parikiya ras, for that reason, Jiva Goswami, to make sure that people didn't take it cheaply, the Parikiya ras, he also emphasized Svakiya ras at the same time. And we see it happens, as Prabhupada said, that it's very common that in the name of Parikiya ras, people do their bhajan with unmarried girls, unmarried women. And the Srila Bhaktisiddhanta used to say, this is the activity of the cheaters and the cheated. So women would go to holy places because they want to find a sadhu, saintly person to get involved with, and people who were unscrupulous would also go to the holy places and dress up as if they're sadhus, and that way find those women who are after those sadhus, cheaters and the cheated. So Jiva Goswami and the 6 Goswamis, of course, all those kinds of things are completely against the rules and regulations of devotional service. Shruti Shmiti Paranadi Pancharatriki Vidim Vinay Aikantiki Harer Bhaktir Utpataya Kalpate. Devotional service, like the imitation of Parakiya Ras, that's not following the rules and regulations and descriptions that are given in the Shrutis and Smritis and Puranas, just causes a disturbance in society. And that's actually what was very common and became common, especially after the appearance of Lord Caitanya. So much so that Vaishnava philosophy and Vaishnava teachings became, in the general mind, became associated with such kind of imitation Parakiya Ras. So then Bhaktivinoda Thakur, whose appearance day is tomorrow, came and started preaching strongly about this difference and what devotional service is actually, following the teachings of the Goswamis, who compiled all this literature and presented it for the understanding of sincere spiritual seekers. So much so that it's come here today to this this far off place from Mayapur. The Srila Jiva Goswami wanted the books of the 6 Goswamis to be disseminated in Bengal, and following the footsteps of Jiva Goswami, Srila Prabhupada also wanted the books of the Goswamis to be disseminated all over the world. So this is something wonderful to know. And Srila Prabhupada, incidentally, or by his purpose, he stayed there at the place of Jiva Goswami, Radha Damodar temple, in order to prepare for distributing this information, this transcendental knowledge to the world. Radha Damodar. Have you visited Radha Damodar temple and seen Prabhupada's quarters there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, there's been quite a bit of back and forth. The owners of the temple, or the proprietors of the temple, they sometimes try to take charge of Srila Prabhupada's quarters, but he wanted that as his eternal residence. And devotees should go and spend time and look at that, and take darshan of that place in Radha Damodar. Incidentally, sometimes we chant, these Jai Radha Govinda, that kirtan sometimes. But it's not just that we chant whatever name of Krishna, that's also nice, but specifically that chant was started with the 7 principal deities of Vrindavan established by the 6 Goswamis. So Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Govinda, Radha what? Damodar, Radha. After Damodar, who's
Ramana.
Ramana, Radha Ramana, yeah, by Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Yeah. Radha Shyam Sundar Shyamananda, that's this Shyamananda, yeah. These like that. There's 7. Gokulananda, Lokanath Goswami. 7 principal temples. So anyway, all glories to Srila Jiva Goswami on his appearance day. We can appreciate his activities and sacrifices. He's mentioned that he was a manjari. You know what a manjari is? a manjari.
Tulsi.
Manjari. What's that?
Tulsi seeds also called manjari, is that right?
Yeah. There are 8 principal gopis. There's Radha Krishna, 8 principal gopis, yeah. And the manjaris are doing specific, they're the assistants to the gopis. Specifically, yes. So Jiva Goswami is very intimate associates of Radha Krishna and the gopis. The Bhakta Shan has his hand up, I see.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. I was just thinking and wondering, so what specific quality might have been there for Jiva Goswami that made him singled out as the highest philosopher? Because that seems to be like a really, I mean, amongst so many high philosophers in Gaudiya Vaishnavism, especially like Rupa Goswami, like, is there something that we could think of specifically? Was it like the volume of work that he created, or the specific like level at which he created it, or something that we can understand about that?
Both volume and level, both.
Okay.
He took a lot of the information and the things written by Rupa Goswami, Siddhartha Goswami, and he edited that to make it more systematized. He followed in the footsteps, and then he produced his own work, which was the whole purpose of all that was to organize scriptural references to put forward the teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and to support it for the world to see. So he was the youngest of the 6 Goswamis, right? So after they had done their work, he was able to put it together and systematize, correlate it all, and put it together for the world's benefit. That was part of his service. So in that sense, he was considered the topmost philosopher. So he did all that.
Well, that's very interesting. I guess the one other thing I would think about, it's probably interesting to note that it mentions a little bit about his education, or he goes and he studies Sanskrit, but he did all of this, but he probably never went to any formal college or any type of school other than studying under some Sanskrit gurus. Like, to have this understanding of grammar in this way, like to be able to, create that, it seems like that would take a lifetime's worth of work just to understand, just to get to that point in that one area. So he must have been like so empowered with intelligence from Krishna to do that.
Yes, no doubt. No doubt.
It's very interesting. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
I mean, at that time, they didn't have like public schools in India, but he had his teachers in Bengal also. But
I mean, even in a public school, they're not producing people like that. So, they have this propaganda that, we have such great educational systems now, but they're not at that point.
They say that? They say that?
There's these Ivy League schools, Harvard.
Oh, okay. Well, you see what quality comes out of the Ivy League schools, you won't be impressed. Yeah,
exactly. So anyways, thank you.
Yes. Hare Krishna. Any other additions, subtractions, improvements, corrections? Mother Sita.
Hi, Krishna Prabhu. There's no additions or subtractions. Just to remind everybody that today in the evening at the temple, we have His Grace Devaki Nandan Prabhu giving his association. 6:30 we'll have Aarti. At 7 o'clock he'll be here. And if many of us can join us, he's as many of you know, he is a disciple of His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Please join us in welcoming him and getting his association.
My understanding is he's going to speak about Lord Vamanadev. Is that correct?
I was not involved in the scheduling, and so I don't know.
Oh, okay. Because That was my impression when I read the announcement. So I didn't speak on Vamanadev because this is Vaman Dvadashi. So I from what I read, I thought that he's speaking on Lord Vamanadev, which is also an important thing we should speak of.
Yes.
What's that?
Most
Okay.
probably, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha. Oh, Krishna Village has that's Krishna Kirtan Prabhu.
If I can beg something today with all of you. Today is my father's anniversary. If you can, just one mantra you all chant for him.
Which mantra you like?
The one you should recommend.
No, you recommend. Hare
Hare-
Krishna. Okay.
Everybody please.
Hare
chant.
Krishna. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Hare
Krishna Krishna.
Hare
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 Rama.
Rama.
Hare Rama.
Hare
Rama Rama. Hare Hare.
Hare.
What's your father's name? Father's name.
Name of Satyanarayan.
Say it again.
Satyanarayan.
Satya Narayan. Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gibbo.
Thank you.